speaker, an inventor, an author, and a member of the Kiwanis Club of Delta Antioch. He is the author of more than 18 books that have been distributed to more than 1 million students in schools and organizations worldwide. He believes that everyone has a gift, and it's our responsibility to help educate, encourage, and empower people to pursue and achieve their dreams. He's also was the #1 vote from our Northern Literacy Club, because I said, you get to pick the speaker. And so he is sponsored by the Northern Literacy Club to be our speaker today. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. André Lewis.
All right, cool. All right, first and foremost, I would like to thank you very much, Valerie, for this amazing opportunity to be amongst friends and family. And before I even start, you all deserve your own hand clap for being the heroes in the communities that you serve. So give yourself a hand clap. All right, I'm on the clock. I got about maybe 15 minutes, so keep me honest to it. Today, I have only one goal. After you hear my presentation, I hope you become inspired. Hopefully your life will be changed, or you would change the life of someone else. Today's speech is about excited to serve, past, present, and future. Take another moment. Imagine and remember the very first time you thought about volunteering for service or to help somebody in their need. My very first time was when I was in 5th grade. I was living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Tyrone was my homeboy, and they were part of this group of safety monitors. And they had these really cool safety vests on, and the safety belt, and they were crossing guards. And before Iron Man came out, these kids could stop a moving car with their hand. And I was like, that is so cool. I said, I want to help, but unfortunately, I rode the bus to school. But Tyrone, he says, you know what, Dre? We can work around this. So he grabbed me and said, hey, let's go talk to the advisor. I got an idea. Maybe you could be a safety monitor on the school bus. I'm like, dude, I'm down. I can do that. So we go to the advisor, and I'm using these words. We lobbied for me to become a safety monitor on the bus. And we were successful. So I was making sure kids were not throwing things out the windows, to make sure they sat down, make sure they were not causing any commotion. But that very first moment of me volunteering as a safety monitor would change my life. It would put me on the pathway to service. So as I went through middle school, I would join clubs. When I went to high school, my freshman year, I was a class president, and I also was a bad football player. Strong safety back then, weighing about 125 wet. And I thought I knew everything. Can't nobody tell me at the age of 15 that I was not the man. However, I was wrong. I didn't think no one could change my mind on anything, but I didn't understand the power of a woman. Her name was Felicia McKinley. She was a sophomore at the rival high school. She was a homecoming queen, and she was an ROTC. And when I say she was beautiful, she was gorgeous. And she had that uniform, was looking really nice. So I got a chance to talk to her because one of my best friends was her cousin. And so she started telling me about her dream. She says, you know what, I'm gonna go become a pilot. I'm gonna go to the Air Force Academy, and I'm gonna serve my country. The more she talked about her dream, the more I fell in love with it. At that time, I wanted to go to MIT and become an engineer. But as she talked about it, I said, no, I want to be a pilot. And as going to the Air Force Academy is going to get me there and serve my country because my dad was military. I said, that's a trifecta. I can do it all. And even maybe have the opportunity to check her out when she gets there too. But, so, I spoke to my mom. I said, hey Mom, I got this idea. I want to go live out in California versus living in Columbus, Mississippi. And I want to go out there because they got a better school. If I want to get to the Air Force Academy, I got to be prepared. So, with luck, my mom convinced my father to let me go out and live with him. So when I got to California, it was different. So different that I decided my sophomore year not to play any sports, to do any activities, to work on my GPA. I got a 3.8. Also got a job in the afternoon working in the office. The reason why I got the job, because the lady said, you said yes, ma'am. Anybody that says yes, ma'am deserves a job. So my junior year though, I was on varsity wrestling, varsity tennis, and never played any sport before then. I joined the Key Club. Yeah, give a hand clap to Key Club. I had found my calling. I had found my brethren, the people that wanted to serve and help. We went out and visited convalescent homes. We went out and picked up trash, and we even did blood drives. It was amazing. My junior year, I had the opportunity that summer to go to Boyd State. I don't know if you're familiar with that program. It's sponsored by the American Legion. So I was one of 4 boys from my high school to go. When I went, I had the opportunity to run for state controller. I wore my, this is kind of funny, I wore my blood drive shirt from Key Club. And I think my speech went something like this. Boy Staters, we are not just boys, we're about to be men. And I'm running for state controller. And you know what? The money in the state of California is like the blood in our body. And if you'll let me as your state controller, I promise you, I'll keep it pumping. And I got elected. My senior year, I go on, I was the captain of the wrestling team. I was Speaker of the House of Representatives, the liaison between our school administrators and our class demographics, changing the menu at our school. We don't like all that stupid stuff they're doing us, so I was helping making those changes. But the biggest thing I accomplished was I became president of Key Club. Represent Key Club. So, here's the issue though. At my Key Club in 1984, I'm dating myself because I'm an old man, AARP, here we go, whoa. So, with that being said, in my Key Club, it was all boys. And I had some really good friends in some AP history classes and AP English. And they're like, Dre, what's up with this? We want to serve. Why can't girls be a part of the club? I said, you're down, you're right. I'm the man now. I'll make it so. So my year was the first year they ever allowed women into our club. Because I believe that everybody, anybody that wants to serve should have the opportunity regardless of their gender, ethnicity, or race, or religion. No matter who you are, there's a purpose and a process that you can be a part of an organization that can help one another. Why not have that opportunity? Why not give it to people that want to help? Yeah, I felt it. So from there, I got to the Air Force Academy. I was an astronautical engineer by undergrad. I was a fencer, saber fencer. Hey. I joined the gospel choir because they had women in it. I can't sing. But also I joined the Way of Life Committee. The Way of Life Committee was an organization for minority cadets to get together, to bond with one another, to ensure that we graduated. Along with that, we make it a proclamation to go into the community to serve. One of our biggest accomplishments was working with the Urban League. The Urban League provided the material. We cadets went out into low-income homes and painted their houses for free. We wanted to share with those people that we cared about them. And that despite us being up on the hill, we're not too high not to come down low to help other people. From the Air Force Academy, graduated, went on to pilot training, and then I became a second lieutenant, and I was at Travis Air Force Base, flying C-141s. Woo! Old man again, woo! Yeah, he was kind of had these thin gauges and all that other stuff, but nonetheless, at that time, I thought I knew everything again. I was wrong. I was so very thankful of 3 major mentors in my life. They taught me to be empowered, encouraged, and empathy. As a second lieutenant, Benjamin O. Davis Jr. came to Travis Air Force Base. And for those that don't know who he was the original Tuskegee Airman, part of the 99th. They led with distinction of being the only outfit to never lose a bomber while they flew. They were the best of the best. This gentleman was one of the first 5. He came out to Travis Air Force Base to go speak to kids in high school to share his dream and his passion. I was selected as one of the other 2 officers that would accompany him to go speak to these schools. So we got to the first school. I do my thing first, hanging out with the youngsters. And at that time, I was a little bit younger, 20-some, just get my feel on. Captain spoke next, and then General Davis did the keynote. As I heard him tell his story, I was truly impressed to see a living legend. Not only that, this man had decided, beside all the accomplishments that he had, to spend time to speak to high school students, to talk about the next generation to take his spot. After we got done speaking, the administrators came around and they were talking to him, and they had this brand new history book out. And what impressed me, General Davis had read the book. And here this man, I think he's in his late 70s at that time, going toe-to-toe with this history professor about what was in the book and what was not accurate. I'm like, do the thing, man, do the thing. So when we get ready to go to the next school, he pulls to the side and says, hey, Captain, LT, come here. I said, yes, sir. He says, you know what, I'm taking up the order. I'm gonna go first this time. Captain, you speak second, and he pointed to me and says, LT, you close out the show. He says, you are the man. He says, the kids gravitate to you like no other. And then I was taken back. Here's my hero. Here's the man. The reason why I have wings on my chest is because of him. The sacrifices, the things that he went through, and the mere fact that he would give me that honor to empower me to a position that was designated for a keynote in his presence. That moment would change my life forever, because it made sure I will always stay humble on what I do, and that we all need to go back and help the next generation of kids see the value of what we have. If General Davis can do it, I made a promise to myself that when I became that guy, I will make sure I do the same thing. That's called empowerment. Encouragement. I was a captain in the Air Force at Altus Air Force Base. At that time, I was an instructor teaching other people how to fly the 141. After I got done with my job, I would run off to the high school where I was assistant coach in high school wrestling. At that time, I weighed over 150, benching about 300, and ran about a mile in 5.5 minutes. I was a bad boy. I could hold my own. As a matter of fact, I work with those kids who are a little bit middle class and heavyweight. They can't mess with Coach. Coach Lou's a bad boy. So one of the kids I was working out with, I can't remember his name, but up to that time, I don't think he not won one, maybe 2 matches, if any at all. And we had this competition, a tournament of 2 schools coming to our area, so we did a round robin. So our school wrestled this school first. So my kid goes out there, and the first period he's dancing around, he gets pinned in the first period. If you don't know what that means, he lost. So after the match, I take my kid over onto the side, and we're working out with the team. And I'm doing my moves. I'm giving 100%, because I always do is give it 100. You can probably tell the way I talk. I'm giving 100%. Coach Homer, hey, Coach, come here. I jump up, run, hey, Coach, what's up? He said, do you think you're helping that kid? I said, yeah, Coach. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. He goes, no, you're beating them up. He said, the sad part is, some of these kids get beat up at home, they get beat up at school, and now you're beating them up here in practice at this tournament. He says, what I want you to do, go back over there, give him 85%. Let that kid hit the move, let him see what it feels like to win. Because some of our kids have never felt that feeling before. And I'm like, oh, whatever you say, Coach. So I go back over there. I'm like, all right. So I'm getting on the wrestling match. I let the kid break me down. I'm like, I let him work a little bit harder and let him get me to my stomach. I get on my stomach and I pop my arm up just slightly higher than I normally would. He runs a half, throws it, put it on my back, and I'm fighting him. I'm giving it back to him. And I let him roll me over, and I'm fighting him. Hey, move. He puts me on my back, and he pins me. He jumps over, he's, Coach, I got you, I pinned you. I said, dude, you got me. I said, you got this. This kid goes out the next match. Within the first minute, he pins the kid with the move we worked on. Referee holds up his hand. He runs over and shakes the other coach's hand. And instead of shaking our coach's hand, this 175-pound kid jumps in my arms like a little baby. And he says, "Coach, I couldn't have done it without you." Ladies and gentlemen, the work that you do is important. The people that you talk to, these kids that you work with in Key Club and everywhere else you go, it makes a difference. But what you have to do, see them as kids. They're not little adults. We have to show them the way, and we have to let them win occasionally. We have to help them to see, because so many of these kids, as you already know, come from broken homes. Some are homeless. Some don't even know where their next meal is coming. So the work that you do is important. It's encouragement. Number 3, empathy. One of my classmates from the Air Force Academy name was Bob Martin. Bob Martin's family's from St. Louis. His father was a financial advisor. Bob Martin's 2 siblings drove Porsche 944s at that time. Bobby Martin had a 1987 candy apple red convertible 911 in 1987. That was my roommate. Yeah, baby, it worked. All right, I can talk about that. But nonetheless, Bobby, in my room, we have Bose stereos for you, that's for the audio files. We have Bose in 1987 in my dorm at the Air Force Academy. And also, not to get too graphic, I had on these briefs. Bobby had boxers. And I didn't know what a boxer was. Bobby was so cool though. He said, "Hey, Dre, you like these? You can have some of mine." I'm like, "No, we good, bro. We good. I love you, brother, but no, we good." But I'm gonna speed it up. When I wrote my first book called "I Wanna Fly," Bobby called me up and said, "Hey, Andre, I need you to do me a favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Dre, I'm gonna buy 2,000 copies of your book. I want you to come to this charter school that I'm working with and speak to these kids." I said, "Bobby, you didn't say nothing but a word. I'll be there, brother." So I fly to St. Louis and I meet up with Bobby and I meet his family, a beautiful home and everything else. And then we get into his car, which was a Range Rover at the time. It was running high. It had the maintenance light on, had the tire light on. I'm like, "Yo, what's up with this, Bobby? Where that 911 at?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm spending my resources on helping kids." And I go, "Wow." So when I get to this charter school to do my presentation, I'm blown away. This charter school was predominantly kids that looked like me. And I looked at my friend Bobby, and I go, "Wow, man, I didn't know you cared so much." He goes, "Dre, you know what? I could talk to them blue in the face to these kids, but it won't have the same impact if you don't tell them who you are." And he says, "They need to hear your story and hear from you, because I know what success looks like. I see it in you, and they need to see someone like you to let them know that they can make it happen too." That statement crystallized in my mind the impact of what we do. So I'm gonna put you on Front Street right now. We know what Kiwanis and Rotary and all these other service organizations have been around for almost 100 years doing what they do. A lot of them don't look like me, but you need to figure out a way to connect to the communities that you're trying to help. You have to figure out a way to bring people in that represent the communities that you're trying to help, so that way your messaging won't get lost, and also you can work on your membership. We got to get that up, Vicki. We got to change this room that's probably on the average age about 60, 55. I'm being nice. But if Kiwanis wants to survive and be here in 2050, you need to start changing now. Because if you don't, in 10 to 15 years, you will be obsolete. If you don't make your changes now, you will no longer exist. Yeah. So that is the past. Present. All right, 5 minutes, we go quick. In 2016, I go to my high school, and my daughters, I got 3 daughters, ages now 20, 21, 23. My oldest is a junior in high school, and I'm saying, "Hey, honey, are you gonna apply for Girls State?" She says, "Dad, I don't think we have one." I said, "Okay, let's figure this out." So I called around, talked to American Auxiliary, and we found out we didn't have a Girls State at our high school. I'm like, "What the hell?" So I said, so I called them up, I said, "Hey, I went to Boise State. I know this program existing. So I talked to the accelerator, and they're like, hey, Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry. For the last 20 years, we haven't had a girl state representative. I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, we didn't have the money. We didn't have the funds. I said, how much? $425. They cannot raise $425. Mind you, the American Legion was sending 3 to 4 boys every year. No one ever thought to help these ladies out, so you know what I said? I got my own publication company. I said I will sponsor this as long as I live in the city. There will be a girl that goes from this school, and we've done it every year since. As a matter of fact, we just picked up a private school to make sure a girl goes from that school as well. 2017, all across, 2017, I get the chance, I'm hanging out in this elevator in Taiwan. For those that don't know, I'll fly airplanes. So I'm in Taiwan, going up, I see this guy, his name is Don. He's from California. I'm like, oh, cool, what's up, Don, how you doing? Da-da-da-da-da. He says, hey, what are you doing here? I said, I'm on business. You on business? Great. I said, what are you doing? He says, well, you know what? After I get done with this trip in Taiwan, I'm going to Kenya to check on a water project for this organization called Rotary. I said, Rotary? Okay, what's up? I said, do you have any kids in Kenya you're going to go see? He says, yeah, there's a school there, about 300. I said, where's Bond? I'm going to donate a book for every kid in Kenya. He goes, Dre, if you donate the books, I take care of the shipping. He went over, and I got this beautiful picture of these kids having their own personal book. He came back and says, André, you need to look up on Rotary's website, go find a club and go join. He says, you don't know it, but you're doing Rotary's work. Okay, I did what he told me to do. So I joined Rotary. Speed it up. 2018. I know, 2018. I was Citizen of the Year for the City of Benicia. I wrote a book for law enforcement to improve their relationship. 2019, Tom McNeil. Him and I was president-elect for Rotary Clubs. Got the chance to meet an amazing man. That's what we call the epitome of being able to volunteer and donate. That's Tom McNeil. Give him a hand clap. Tom McNeil. So, Tom and I are talking. He's like, babe, you in Rotary? Dude, I'm in Kiwanis too. I'm like, what? I'm like, Kiwanis? What? I said, dude, they still around here? Yeah, they still around. I said, all right, cool. So he said, Dre, you got to come over here and help me with Kiwanis. So with that, I joined the Delta group over in Antioch to be part of Kiwanis. I got 2 minutes, Valerie? How am I doing on time? 2 minutes. All right, here we go. So I wrote a book called Excited to Serve. We wrote this book to help organizations like yours to give it to kids and go tell your story, to inspire them to join a volunteer organization. 2020 came around, and you know what happened with COVID. I was a part of a commission for my city of Benicia Unified, where we talked about literacy. And I decided with my company to create something called the Literary Portal. Now this is the future, to give you a tool that you can go out and share your passion. This tool has all our books on there. It has it in different languages, some of them, has workbooks, resources, video content. It's a Netflix of literacy. But I did it to help you to reach another demographic. So I'm gonna show you a quick 3-minute video, and then after that, I think she's gonna kick me off the stage. Here we go.
In high school, while many of my friends dreamed about becoming a professional athlete, I dreamed about going to the United States Air Force Academy and becoming a pilot. I knew it would be easy, but if I worked hard, I knew this dream was possible. But like most dreams, there are challenges. My challenge was the SAT. I took the SAT 3 times and didn't meet the minimum requirement to get into the Air Force Academy. I was disappointed, but I didn't let doubt set in. So I spoke with my counselor about my SAT scores, and she recommended that I take the ACT. Filled with hope, I went home to share this news with my dad. But I don't know about our financial situation, but he didn't have the $10 to give me. I was hurt. I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I looked at my options, and I finally came up with the idea to ask my best friend's mother if I could borrow $10. I shared with her my situation, and I even told her that I was willing to do anything to get the $10 to make my dream come true. Well, she reached into her purse, and she handed me the $10. I can't truly adequately express the emotion that I felt at that moment. But that time, Miss Green showed me love. She changed my life with $10. So can $10 change your life? Yes, it can. Because with that $10, I met the minimum requirement against the Air Force Academy. 4 years later, I graduated with a degree in astronautical engineering with an emphasis in propulsion dynamics, basically a rocket scientist. I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. I went on to pilot training, where I graduated in the top 3 in my class, getting my first choice of aircraft, which is flying C-141s out of Northern California. For over 9 years, I proudly served my country in the Air Force flying as a pilot, and had the privilege of landing an airplane on every continent. For 30 years and counting now, I've been living my dream as a pilot. But that's not enough. I need to help more children live out their dreams. So in 2005, I created my own publication company, where I created the passion of reading with the love for engineering, and I created pathways to success for children and their families. The journey's not over yet. We need to help more children. So can $10 change a life? Yes, it can. I'm determined to change as many lives as possible. And with your small donation of $10, we can make a difference in every child's life. So if you want to help, you can go to literaryportal.com, where you can give a free subscription for a year to a family so they have access to our works. Thank you for your help.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. And like I said, the portal, we're doing it for $39.95. However, for organizations who plan to give it out free, send me an email. We're going to put it there for $10. So that was going to be my gift. And I look forward to working with Kiwanis as we all work to helping kids. And let's thank you for this opportunity.